This
Will go.
conference will now be recorded.
Okay, thanks. Today we'll go with the license registration, right? And we'll see some basic screens of Salesforce. So, would anyone mind to share your screen? Anyone? Siri?
Okay, so hello.
Yeah, I'm giving you the presenter access. Yeah, you can now share the screen.
Okay. So I can't enable the share button here. Oh, okay.
Yeah, got the access.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, I'm sharing. I hope
Yeah,
everyone's
I
visible.
hope others also. Yeah. Okay. So the first one. So let's see how do we get the access to Salesforce. Yeah. So can you go to developer.salesforce.com? Okay. No, no, don't. You already have a login access? No, right? So if you scroll down, see there are multiple ways in getting the license of Salesforce. Yeah? But this one will give you an access to an unlimited lifetime. Yeah? Can you go with browse trails on the top, right top corner? There is a button called browse trails. Yeah. Now browse all trails on the left side. Yeah. Perfect. Now scroll down. So here register sign up for a developer edition, Salesforce developer edition. So give your details. So email can be your personal email address.
Sorry, I was typing in.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm giving the first account because I have one account.
Okay. Fine. Can you show the details? Like, can you just okay? Can
Mm,
you scroll down?
okay.
So few things to note down here. So you have to. I'm getting echo. Someone joined twice, it seems. So either you drop off or
I think I need to myself.
so few things here. One is if you scroll up, it will ask for your email address, right? So email address can be your personal email ID, and other one people question is okay, what is the role that I should give? So it doesn't matter. You can give any role, right? Whether it could be a developer, architect, or not. It's just to fill a field in the user record of your system. So you can pick any role. Post that you have a company name which is mandatory. So if you're working, fine. If not, that is also fine. Just give Salesforce. It doesn't matter. You just have to give some random name. Yeah. And then next one, which is very important, is username. So if you observe that username, right, it is in the form of an email, right? Or Siri, can you randomly fill some details in all the fields? I mean, let's not do a sign up, but yeah, just randomly fill some details like with your first name, last name, and some name at
Okay.
Gmail, something like that.
just giving the test details.
So company can give Salesforce or career IT, doesn't matter. So give something. Okay. And when it comes to your username, right? So it must be in a form of an email ID, right? So for example, if Siri at gmail.com is working, so you can directly give it. If not, uh, just give Siri at some salesforce.com or something, and then after that you agree to the terms and conditions and scroll down and do a sign up. Don't click on sign up now. So once you sign up, what Salesforce will do is it will send a verification mail to your email ID which you have given over here, right? And when I click on that, it will ask me to set my password. It is pretty simple. So you just give your set a new password and you can log in, right? Once this sign up, is it? I think Sirisha, you have to go on mute. It seems too much of noise is coming from your end. Can you go on mute, please? Very soon.
The noise still coming. I have muted myself.
It's still coming. I'm not sure. One second. Okay. Yeah. Now it's good. Right. So once you do a sign up, next time whenever you are logging in, right, you can directly go to login.salesforce.com. Can you go to a website called login.salesforce.com? Yeah. With whatever the username that you have given and the password that you set, right? You give those credentials here and then you can click on login.
So can I log in into my account?
Yes, please.
Mhm. I think I forgot my password. Here it is. The login.
So I'm giving you the URL in the chat window. Just click on it and register for developer edition. So that should be enough
Oh,
next time when you're registering for a new account. Yeah. And this is for the people who don't have access. Now, so once you log in for the first time, right? So this is what we see. Okay. So before we go here, so okay, for example, let me look at the names of yours. That. So looks like all of you are Indians, right? So who knows Ambani here?
who don't know Ambani? That's the question.
Who don't know about Ambani?
I think all know.
Correct? Perfect. Now, let's say there is no software with him. Let me share my screen. Okay, can you all see my screen? So let's say Ambani doesn't have any software to maintain anything. He have a lot of business, as everyone knows, right? He's there in retail industry. He's there in uh, mobile networks. He is. It's there in almost all the areas, right? So he wants to capture his business, or he wants to do a documentation for his entire business with no software. What is the best tool that you'll recommend? Don't say Salesforce. Or what is the best tool that you have ever seen in your life till date, even if you're an experienced person? Anyone?
OneNote.
Okay, that's the best product. What is the best product that you have seen till date? Or what is the best software, or what is the best tool that you have seen till date? Anyone? Okay, so I'm into IT, almost 14 years, of course, with only Salesforce experience. But if you ask me, Ram, what is the best tool that you have seen, I will say only one, that is Excel. I can do anything and everything using Excel. I mean, few things like mails, automations cannot be done, but this is the best tool that you see, right? So let's say Ambani want to track everything in Excel sheet only. He don't have anything, as I said, like he wants to just track entire business in Excel. So what he'll do for oil and gas, right? It's there for oil and gas, right? Like, or I would say for energy sector, he'll maintain one, correct? Then for clothing, he'll maintain one sheet. For maybe for Geo, he'll maintain one more. Likewise, so he'll start capturing the details of almost all the industries he is running, right? Let's take one of them. Let's take Geo only. So in this sheet, I want to track my entire Geo business. So what should I do? Simple. I will create multiple sheets here, correct? I'll say customer, then I'll say maybe products that I'm having, and maybe I might have to capture the employee list, and then the transactions, or maybe even the salaries that I'm paying. Correct. Likewise, like of course, the list will expand. Like maybe if I'm having a lot of buildings, then maybe the building rents, the power, the consumption, the expenses, everything. Right now, when I'll go to customer, what I'll capture here? Maybe I'll start with maybe a serial number, then name, email, phone, blah blah blah. Let's start capturing the details, right? Maybe his address, all this. Similarly, product, like of course, product name and dimensions of the product if required, weight of the product, or maybe the other details, right? and number of products available, etc., etc. Same thing applies to all the other places also, right? All the other Excel sheets also. I mean, all the other businesses that we have, right? So here we do have a lot of others, right? Energy or clothing, everything. Right? Now, for example, so let's take Sirisha. So she is our first customer. So can I give? Okay, I'll say z.com as her email ID and phone number is 1234. Now registration is done, transactions are happening. Now Tarun came to me and he said like, okay Ram, even I want to buy something, so I will capture his name also, and of course his phone number or maybe his email ID. You give me that, right? And then his phone number. Can this be done? Is this okay to capture the information like this? Is it possible, or is that fine to do at first? Anyone?
No,
If,
it's not
why?
possible.
Yeah, it is possible if you are going with Excel, because it says when it's just a column heading that I have given, I can actually capture anything. But ideally, that's not the right way of doing it, right? So it won't help you for those validations and all. So that's one of the issues, right? So let us see the same. If I want to capture the same thing in Salesforce, Salesforce is also same, right? So as I said, the prerequisite for learning admin is just to know the basics of Excel sheet, like how do I create a file, Excel file, how do I name a sheet, what information I'll capture, right? So we know how to create files. We have created multiple sheets and every sheet will capture. So basically what this sheets will tell you, this sheet will tell you the details of that respective tables data, right? If I go to transaction, I'll see the list of transactions that the customer made with me, right? If I go to salaries, it shows you the amount of salaries or the amount of people that I have, and then the amount that I'm paying them as salaries, etc., etc., right? Now Salesforce is also the same. Now let us log into Salesforce. Let's go to login.salesforce.com, right? I'll just log in. Once I log in, right, let us start comparing something which we know and something which we are going to learn. Okay, so when you go with Excel sheet, if I when I'm tracking Excel, what all we have files, right? First we created multiple files, right? Every file have multiple sheets. Every sheet, what is there in sheet? You have tables. Every table have a row and a column. I'll say column and row. And of course, something that you cannot change, this row numbers cannot be changed, right? Row number. Now I will show, or I'll start comparing this with Salesforce. Okay. And yeah, please stop me right at the point that when you missed it. Yeah. Now I'll go back. So first time I have logged in, or when you logged in to the system for the first time also, you will see more or less the same screen. Yeah. So why this screen? Why it says setup screen? Because this, as I am the person who created this, registered for this, right, for this developer edition, I'll be the admin, and I can see the setup screen. Ram, but so you have just logged in, right? Look, we just have registered with Salesforce. Does it mean that is it similar to Facebook registration? To an extent, yes, and to an extent, no. Because when I register with Facebook or LinkedIn or any Twitter and all, right? So what you'll do there, you have registered as an end user, right? So that is where I can connect with my friends, right? Or I can share my information, or I can start chatting with my friends and all, right? But can I remove my friend's account from Facebook from my account? I mean, I will log into Facebook, and let's say I want to deactivate Siri's account. Is that possible? Can it be done? Can we do that?
No, no.
Not possible.
Mm.
Why? Because you are not the admin, right? Simple. Maybe what you can do is I can create a group and I'll add all of you folks into that. And then let's say tomorrow I had some issue with let's say Kiranmai. Then I'll say okay, I'll remove Kiranmai from that group. That's it. Maximum I can remove her from the group that I have created, but I cannot remove Kiranmai from Facebook completely, right? But when it comes to Salesforce, when I create a login or when I sign up for a developer edition, which means that I have taken a space from Salesforce. Okay, so in this, I can create users. So that is where, if I go to, there is something called, or instead of this, I'll say, if I go to something called company information. So here, if you see, it says I can create this many users. Right? Number it depends on the licenses that we have registered. Of course, these are dummy numbers just for our understanding. But ideally, you cannot create this many users in the free edition. Maximum one or two users in our system. Yeah. So I can control all the other users. Why? Because I'm an admin. Okay. So keep this aside. Now, so that is how it is different. So in and unlike Facebook, we can develop our applications, we can share the content, we can do the scrutiny as well. That is the possibility that you have in Salesforce. Now, okay, Ram, you are speaking more about securities, users, activation, deactivation, but what can we do in Salesforce? Yes. So forget about a system admin. Let's say consider I am an end user. So I have logged in. So why will I use a software for that matter? Like forget about Salesforce, any technology, right? Like any tool. Why will I use it?
To
Why
track
am
all
I
the details.
great? So to do some transactions, right? So I will have some raw data with me, right? And I want to do some processing in it. Simple, right? So a tool is like a simple box where you will feed something, right? Like for example, if you go with a normal calculator, right? So you'll open the calculator and you'll say 3 and then 3 plus 5, then it will show you the result. It will process that 3 plus 5, it will show 8 as the result, right? It's the same thing for any tool for that matter. You will provide something, right? And it will process and it will show some input output. And of course, as you have some space, you will store the data also in Salesforce. Now, okay, to provide that information, so I need to access the application. Now, so to access the application, on the left top corner you have nice dot, looks like a symbol, right? Click on that and then click on view all. This is the place where you can see the list of all the applications that are created in your Salesforce org. By the way, this is called your Salesforce org, right? In this org, how many applications are available, that will be visible to you. Only it depends on the access provided to you. For example, I think I have around 20 plus applications. As I am the admin, I can see all of this. Let's say I have created Tarun as one of the user, and I just want him to access this banking and no broker application. So when he log in and he when he click on app launcher, he will see only two applications. That's it, right? It depends on what access your system admin have been provided to you. Okay. Now, so this I call in Excel as file, which is application. Now when I open a file, what will happen? I can see the number of all sheets that are available in that file, right? So for example, I'll go to sales. When I click on sales, right, it will show me all the tabs, or these are called as sheets, right? All the tabs that are available under that application. Okay. The technical name for a sheet in Salesforce, we call it as tabs. Any questions till now? Anyone? Good. Now I'll go back. Now, what is the purpose of a sheet in Excel? It will help you to access the data that is there under a table, right? You will have a lot of tables, right? You will see the access under, you will access the data that is there on the table. So similarly, your tabs helps you to access the data that is available on that object. So the tabs, the technical name for a table in Salesforce is called as object. So what is the use of a tab? Tab helps me to access the data of an object, right? So leads, for example, leads is one of my tab. Under leads, I will be able to access all the data that is there on my lead object. For example, if I go with mother, right, when I click on that, so it will show me the entire details. We'll go in depth, like what is this, how many screens are this, right? Any questions till now? Anyone? I mean, I will explain you about this related extra tabs, sub tabs that are available later. But till now, are we clear? And by the way, for the people who already have access to the system and know some basics, please hold on for a day or two, because I want to start or cover everything right from basics. So maybe for one or two sessions, I'll go slow. Any
Yeah, but
questions?
this
Sorry.
is the first session or this is the demo session?
Yesterday was the demo session, not yesterday, day
Okay.
before yesterday we had a demo, and this is the first session. In the demo, I just told what is Salesforce and all. So but today is the first session where we have create, I mean, I've shown you how to sign up for a developer edition and then started opening the Salesforce screens. So I mean, if you miss the first session, that's fine, you're not missing anything.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now, so for example, here in the under the table you'll have columns, right? So here also we'll have columns, but we technically we call them as labels, sorry, fields. Yeah. Name, company, title, lead source, industry, rating, all these are called as fields in Salesforce. Okay. And rows, obviously we call them as records. And here you will have row numbers which are unique. In Salesforce we will have record IDs. What are record IDs? Whenever I create a record in Salesforce, right, so it will create a 15 digit ID for it in the URL. So if I copy this, I can go to any tab for that matter, right? If I paste that ID after salesforce.com slash and enter, it will directly navigate me to that record again. Okay? So simple, right? Like if I want to see what is there on my, I don't have to say, okay, open, give me the details of Siresha. I can simply say, okay, can you give me the record details which is there on row number 2, right? Same thing here also. Record IDs are unique. No two records in Salesforce will have a same ID. Okay? Any questions till now?
Unique in the sense duplicate or else?
Sorry, Upendra.
You have said me that record IDs are unique. There is
Hmm.
won't be a duplicate in it.
Sorry. There is.
Record items are unique. You said right.
Yes, yes.
It's unique in the sense like only one record will be there. Duplicates also can it allow.
No duplicates. There are a lot of duplicate rules, so it depends, right? Like for example, let's say this Roger as one of our record. Right? I can simply clone it and say it is possible. But again, I have written some duplicate rules at the back end. Salesforce by default it won't show you. Okay, so
Okay.
you have to write. So duplicates again, it depends, right? When we speak about duplicates, like every organization have their own definition of duplicates. So if you ask me if you are going with the same email ID, I will say it's a duplicate because uh, so I can have n number of Rogers or I can have n number of Rams in the world, but only one person will have the same email ID, right?
Yes.
But this by default, you cannot have any other record with the same ID that is generated by Salesforce. For example, if I'm creating a new record, right? Example, I'll create a new record. I'll say open this and say career ID. And say. So this will always be okay. So by the way, like when we create a new row, you'll just go to the next row and start filling the details. In Salesforce, you will have a new button under that tab. From there, you will start creating the records. Clear? Isn't that simple? Now you understood the difference between Salesforce and Excel.
Can you open the file application like how I need to open the sales one? Can you show me that?
Yeah. So how do you access files? You'll just go to some folder and you'll access the file, right? So here
Yes,
in
yes.
Salesforce, we'll go to this app launcher, a donut symbol on the left top corner.
Okay.
So you have waffle symbol, not donut. So click on the waffle symbol. You will see the list of all the applications that are available or that you can access. Again, this will have a limitation. It depends on the access that you have. Your application, I mean, your org might have 100 applications, but you will be able to see only two. If your admin says open, there can see only two. Right? It depends on the security. Those concepts we'll see in future.
Okay. We need to. Okay. We need to open the sales right in this.
I mean, you can pick anything. So I just
Okay.
randomly picked up. You can pick service or any other application that is available. It's the same. Like more structure will be same. Under the application, you will see the type. For example, here in sales, we have seen an object called leads. But if you see in the service, you don't have that object at all.
Okay. Based on our criteria, we need to select that respect to application. Right?
Yes. So,
Okay.
and what is the disadvantage if we are going with Excel for Ambani? There is one disadvantage. Anyone? Just a minute. Huh? Back a minute. Sorry. There is one disadvantage here. What is it? Ram can buy clothes in Reliance Trends. He can fill the fuel in Reliance Power, and he can take internet. I mean, he can use Geo network, and of course, he can still use Geo Wi-Fi devices as well, right? But as I'm there in all the businesses, Ambani will maintain my record in three different places. So for him, actually Ram is only one customer. Only thing is I'm doing multiple transactions. Right? End of the day, it comes to the same, right? But when it comes to Salesforce, we call accounts as customers, by the way. See, I have two customers here, right? Career IT, Infosys on service application. Now let us go to sales, as we have seen sales already. Even in sales also, you will have account staff. It's the same, which means when in Salesforce, you just create one table and use it for any number of applications. When use create one object and use it for any number of applications, it doesn't matter. That's the best part, right? So here again, the same information will be duplicated, right? If you are going with Excel, that those such duplications can be avoided. So now, if Ambani wants to use Salesforce and if he wants to see, okay, how many transactions that Career IT did, he'll just open Career IT and he'll go to the related list. He'll see how many transactions they did. Simple, as simple as it. But when you go with Excel, so you have to concatenate. You need another person who will concatenate the information and will say, okay, this year Career IT bought maybe did 100 purchases in clothing industry, and then they filled 1,000 times in the fuel, and maybe 12 times they used our internet. They made our internet payments, so they have to collect everything. But here in Salesforce, it comes by default. That's the best part. Any questions so far? Now, so let us, as we still have 20 minutes, so let us go with a simple process that we discussed yesterday, something on sales, right? So, okay, let's go with the same, right? The Geo one. So let's say we want to set up a sales process for the Geo devices, right? The Wi-Fi devices. Okay. Now let's say consider Upendra from Career ID. He came in and he wants a Wi-Fi setup, right? So give me 1 minute. Let me shut the door. So what will I do for marketing? First, I'll go to an object called campaigns. So what is a general sales process? First, we'll do marketing. Then every market, when the moment we did some marketing, we will get inquiries. Then inquiries will become customers. Customers, sorry, will do transactions. This is the typical sales process that we have in the market. Am I correct? And this is what we discussed also yesterday. Correct? Now, let's say for some ABC business, when if you want to set the sales process, when I say marketing, so say, I remember people said like, okay, I will give the ad either in television or will publish in the newspaper, or we there are multiple other ways also. We can conduct some webinars or we can conduct some trade shows, etc., right? We'll go with a very simple one, which is newspaper ads, right? So I have to give an ad in the paper, right? For that, definitely it is not for free. So someone will charge me, right? When you are charging, which means you are spending something in the process. So do we need to capture it or not in the process? Are we supposed to capture any this transaction made for this newspaper ad or not required? Ideally, we should, right? So to capture anything related to marketing, so we have something called campaigns. Campaigns is the tab, right, which will help us to capture any information about the marketing. So I'll click on new button and I'll simply say newspaper. Okay, and I'll make it active, status as in progress. Like you will have a lot of fields, right, for every record. So I'm not gonna fill them. I'll just leave it blank and save. So once I create a campaigns record, there are multiple sub records it will show where. So I'll just go to the details first. It'll say the paper, I mean campaign name is newspaper ad and conference. So type I'll change it to something public relations, right? And then status we have set already, and I'll save it. Okay, and then on the left side if you go to rated, it will show you a lot of fields. So these things you'll get to know slowly. So as of now we will ignore. Okay, and I'll go to the details. So here when we are creating, if you remember, we have created the record using only these fields which are there on the left side. And even if I want to modify also, like I then click on edit button from here. Even if I want to modify, I can modify only the fields that are there on the left side, but not on the fields on the right side. And if you see, there are read only and everything it says zero, right? So because these are the fields which will be filled using some automations at the back end, and we'll see how these numbers will change. Okay, so ad is done. So when you speak about marketing, we have campaign. Then how do we get the inquiries? So either people will call us, right? Or maybe they will come to my organization directly and they'll check, right? Or maybe they will message us through some website or whatever, right? Now consider, let's go with a simple one, maybe with a mobile industry. Yeah? Like let's say I want to sell some mobiles. Now let's say I'll consider Upender from career IT. Let's say career IT is doing some very big mobile based, they are developing some mobile application, and Upender is the lead manager for it. He is the person who can take any decisions. So he looked at my product, so he said, okay Ram, I'm interested. Now what I'll do, whenever a lead comes into picture, few things, few questions that I'll ask him. The first question is, okay, how, I mean, of course, the details over here, like when we are creating the record, you will fill all the details, which industry, etc., etc. So all this, and then I will ask one of my sales agent to start working on it, right? Because Upender said, see, we are from career IT, we are going to build an application. It's a new tool in the market. And for testing that, I need 50 mobiles. So he came up with a request of 50 mobiles. So definitely he's a big lead because I am starting in the market. So mine is a very new product in the market. So getting a 50 people, I mean, 50 orders in one shot is very big. So I'll ask one of my sales agent to work with him. So let's say Tarun is the sales agent. So what is the first question that Tarun will ask to Upendra? How did you know about our product? Correct? So he will say, I have seen your paper ad. So immediately Tarun will tag Upendra to that paper ad and save it. Done. Now every inquiry will have some status. So it's a, here we have four statuses: open not contacted, working contacted, closed, not converted, and converted. When Tarun started working on this, so he will say the status, he'll change the status from work not contacted to working contacted because Tarun is in touch. Now what will happen? Upender will start asking some questions, right? It's not like the moment he speak with Tarun, he will say yes, I'm gonna buy, right? So he'll start asking some questions, maybe the features, right, or maybe the discount details, all this. So Tarun is just a sales agent in this case. So let's say too much technical questions cannot be answered by Tarun. So what he'll do, he will ideally he will write somewhere in some notebook and he'll say, okay sir, I'll get back to you maybe after connecting with my technical team, right? But for Tarun, Upender is not the only inquiry in a day, right? So generally when you go to any showroom, so you will have salespeople, but they will interact with 10, 15 people every day, right? So one person, he may or may not be able to remember. So instead, he can create a task for him. I'll say, get the processor details. Let's say this is my subject, and I can set some due date for me. I'll say, okay, get it done by day after tomorrow, and call this fellow and say. Now what will happen is, so it will create an upcoming task for me, and of course, if I'm not completing it or if I'm not updating it by 14th of December, when I log in, it will show me a pop-up also saying that boss, you have this activity pending. That is where you have to give the due date. Okay. Now let's say Tarun went to the technical team, so he got all the details. Now you have to inform him. So to get this information, Upender may or may not come to the office branch again, right? So I can call him. Tarun can call him. So he can call and log the detail. So he can log all the call details also here, right? Or maybe Upender says, no, no, yeah, it's not just me who can take the decision. So can you set up a meeting so that maybe in my office itself, so that I can invite my colleagues also to explain the details. So he can schedule a meeting also with Upender. So all these things will be tracked over here. And now Upender says, no, no, yeah, can you send me the details with an attachment? So click on email, start filling all the details and send it to him along with the attachments. So that is also possible. Why? Because this makes me to be very clear and very transparent with my line, right? My organization saying that I did this many activities to convert this inquiry to a customer, right? Now after providing all the information, now Upender will have two options. Either he'll say, okay, good, I'm happy, I'm gonna become your customer, or he'll say, no, no, yeah, I'm getting a better discount with a better product, better features outside in some other ABC company, I'm going there. So let's not go with it. Like if he is not interested, we'll say not converted, and we don't have to disturb him. But if he is interested, he is happy, then I'll say converted. Now, there are two things. Okay, by the way, when I open this campaign request, right? See, leads in campaign, earlier it was 0, it is 1 now because I have tagged Upender here. Okay. Now, let's say Upender is happy to become my customer. Now, when I'm converting, ideally what should happen? I have to capture Upender details in a place where I'm capturing my customer details, because here it is an inquiry. A lead is an inquiry. So thing is, like, I have to duplicate this. Instead of duplicating, what Salesforce does, it has given us a good feature which will convert your inquiry into a customer. So here, when I'm converting an inquiry into customer, Salesforce will create three records: one in account, one in contact, and one in opportunity. Now, can someone tell me why career IT is coming in account? Because I told you customer is career IT. Sorry, account is nothing but a customer information. Why career IT information is there in account? Anyone? It's fine. Do a wild guess if you don't know. Sridhar, Kiranmai. So who is interacting with me? Upender. So Upender should name should come here in the account object, right? In the customer information. Why career IT? Because Upender is buying that 50 mobiles or 100 mobiles for career IT's project. So of course Upender is being my point of contact, but who is paying me? Career IT, right? So that's where career IT information will be there in account. Customer is someone who pays you, right? Who is paying us now? Career IT is paying us. So his information, the career IT information will be there in customer, and point of contact is Upender, and the transaction that they are doing, right? So that will be there in the opportunity. Okay, it is always like name with hyphen. Now I'll say convert. The moment I convert, so it has created three different records: career IT, Upender, and career IT hyphen. When I go back to the leads, Upender record is now deleted. If you see, right? But if I go to accounts, I can see career IT's record with contact as Upender. Now, when I say related, the child record details will be there under related section. Okay. So here I can still create one more. Let's say now I want Kiran Mai as my customer. So I can create one more record for her. Maybe after buying the product, Upender gave a very good feedback. Kiran Mai from, let's say, from New Jersey, was working again in career writing. So she also wants to start a program there, especially on the mobile. So as she is aware that Upender did a transaction and they are pretty much happy with the product, so she can also buy. That time I don't have to go through an entire read process because now career is already my customer. I can directly create a contact for her and start doing the transactions. But Ram, you're missing some good part, which is the transaction. That is where we'll capture in the opportunities. Right? When I open this career ID as an opportunity record, this is where the amount details, like which product the user wants, right? How many days, how many products, details of the product, when it can be closed, what is the state of it, all these things will be captured over here. And when Upender says yes, I'm gonna become your customer, it doesn't mean that he's gonna buy your product. He is just a prospect for you, which is nothing but an opportunity. So here again you will have multiple stages. So these are the market standard stages which are given by Salesforce, and again it depends on us, right? So I have converted this inquiry to opportunity, right, or to customer. If you see here, these numbers also will change, right? Responses, it depends on a field called emails. Like when you're doing email campaigning, this will come, and opportunities one and all, this also will change. Now this is the place where we will speak about the products, because till now we didn't added the details of the 50 mobiles, all these things, right? Those things will be added over here. Like when you start adding the products, the numbers will automatically come. Now in this case I will randomly say the amount value as, let's say, $100. Okay, why 100? Because it will be easy to show the differences. So first stage is prospecting. At this stage, I'll say the probability of winning this opportunity is just 10%, which is I can expect only 10% of the revenue, which is $10. But let's say if the stage is proposal, which means almost done, right? Like two more stages. So it says 75%. So it shows you $75 out of 100. And finally, in the last minute, it'll say either he can close the deal with a positive note or he can skip. There are two things. So I'll say closed one. If I close one, which means that I'm done. It's like the opportunity, the product is completely sold and they have paid the amount. So that's where closed one. When I say closed loss, yep, at any stage, like he'll say no, I'm not at all interested. So that is that. I'll go with the closed one. When I say status closed one, see expected revenue is $100. If I go back to my campaign, if I refresh my record and go to the details, it will show me the value as 100. This is a typical standard sales process. And what we did today, we have seen the system as an end user. And by the way, this is there in your systems also, even if you are creating a new developer edition. Yeah. So I didn't define anything here. I just gone with the flow, logged in, started creating the records in each and every object. As I know the process, like as I know these objects that I'm going to touch, so I have created. So now these inquiries, we call them as leads. Customers are nothing but accounts. Transactions, for now, we'll consider it as opportunities. Yeah. Now, the numbers changed, right? So when you are changing these numbers and when you are going to the opportunity, I can go to the account details also, right? From going back, right? So all these are inter-tagged, right? Unless until there are some relations written at the back, created at the back end, unless until there are some automations running at the back end, these numbers won't be updated automatically, correct? So this is for an end user, but why did we join this session? To understand how these things are defined, or to understand how can we do this define definitions, or how can we define such processes for our future organizations, right? So to understand that, we have two ways. One is do a reverse engineering, go back and see how these radiations are made, how these processes are defined, which automation rule has been created. Go to the logs, check each and every log, and see these transactions. That is one way. Second way is start developing things from the scratch. Pick one application, because the same thing we did, right? Like we picked an application which is sales, started with the tabs, campaigns, leads, account, contacts, opportunities, right? And started filling the details of those objects by creating the records, and every record has generated record ID, and we have seen the process. But now we will see how do we define all this. We'll see how do we create an application. We'll see how these objects are being created, how to get the tabs, how do we define the fields. Because see, some of the fields, if you have observed clearly, to create the record in campaigns object, we hardly filled 4 or 5 fields, right? And of course, even it is showing you around 10 to 15 fields. But see the account, around 20, 30 fields are there, right? So how to fill these fields, and especially if you have observed when you are editing this field, right, there are multiple data types also, right? So it says connect to the parent account, and let's say I want to connect with ram. When I'm trying to save, it is not allowing me. There is some validation, and the difference is there is a magnifying glass here. For this, it is not there. Even if I change something, it allows me. When I go to rating, it shows me a drop down value, and if I scroll down somewhere, you'll see some dates. For dates, I'm getting a visit, right? We'll see how these fields can be defined with a specific data type, and what kind of validations can we write, and how to automate this so that it helps me to process my data a bit more faster, right? This is what we are going to learn in future. Any questions so far, anyone? Or is it too clumsy today?
Yeah, this is our first class, right? Somewhat new for us.
Yeah, that's the reason I didn't went anything technical today, apart from this comparison. But yeah, as I said, so we are not going to cover everything in one shot. So tomorrow we'll see very basic, like how to create application and how to create some objects, and then we'll slowly see what are the fields, that how do we create fields in those objects, and how do we connect multiple objects, right? After that, we'll see how do we run some formulas, and then validations, then automations, like that will go slowly. But yeah, let me know if the speed is good enough, or you want me to increase it, or you want me to slow down. As far as
Yeah.
I know, Yeah, ready. Gone.
Or did you cover this concepts like campaign leads, opportunities, or hello?
We just saw, right?
Yeah.
Huh. No, these are not something that I have created already. This is there in Salesforce. When you register, right? This is a default application which is given by Salesforce. We just created these records as an end user. That's it. Okay, we didn't created any objects here. So these are there by default. But I will go in depth when I actually start the sales application. Once we are done with the custom application, right? Once we know how these processes are being defined, then I'll pick sales and service separately. That time I'll discuss again.
Okay, got
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, because now
Thank
even if I discuss about these features, how these things are defined at the backend, right? It will be really tough for you to understand. Rather, we'll see how these definitions can be done. Then we'll come back. Okay, maybe
Like,
after 2 weeks, two not
yeah,
yeah, 2 weeks in the sense
yeah.
15 sessions.
Okay. From campaigns only, we'll get the leads, right?
That's one way, but there are multiple other ways also. But yeah, this is one way. It's not.
Okay.
See, I can create a lead without a campaign, right? I don't have to do. For example, as we discussed yesterday, I mean in the previous session, Rolls Royce will never do any campaigning, right? They won't do any marketing. But if Upender has, let's say, if he is a millionaire or billionaire, so he'll go to Rolls Royce and say that, okay, I want a car. So that time also Upender is a lead for them. They won't say, no, 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 we don't have any, we didn't do any marketing, I'm not going to take your business. They won't say that, right?
Like here, after lead creation, your like account is career ID is there, right? Might
Yes,
career ID or else that same lead personnel will be also there.
correct.
Okay.
So it
Like
depends again. For example, so Salesforce generally deals with B2B. I mean, the default option that we have got here is B2B, where business will do the transactions with business. That is where here in this case, our account is career ID. For example,
okay,
Upender wants
like
to buy
my
a car. I want to buy a car. So same the Rolls Royce
okay,
example, right? So at that time, let's say if Upender is working for Career IT, even if he is working for Career IT, Upender is buying a Rolls Royce car for him, not for Career IT, right? For Rolls Royce, Upender is a customer. That is where we call it as B2C, business to customer, right? So for that it's not available in the free edition, but it's a simple tweak where you just have to enable a personal account. I'll also show you some documentation how to enable it. Once it is done, then account and contact information will be merged. It's the same thing. It's a simple one. It's not very tough. But yeah, don't think at that level now. So let's
okay,
start understanding the basics. But of course, I will definitely cover those concepts in future.
okay, okay.
Do this course helps non-IT background person?
Okay, I'll park this question for 2 more minutes. Let's see if any other questions are there. Then I'll answer your question for sure, Harita. Is that okay?
Okay.
It's 2 more
Yeah.
minutes. Any other questions? Okay. Did you understood what we discussed today, Harita?
Yes, I can understand
Then
that.
it will definitely help you because
Okay.
even if you're not if you're from a non-IT background, so there are roles like business analyst. Who
Okay.
is a business? Any BS here? Anyone?
Yeah, I'm working as a BA lead. Yeah.
Perfect. Super. What's your role like? What do you do in organization? Typically, let's say
Getting,
if I'm a BA, so what should I do?
yeah, getting the requirements, considering the user stories of
Correct?
those requirements. Yeah.
Correct? Then make
Then
sure
we
your
will,
developer understands that, right?
yeah, the key and the developer needs to understand those requirements, and we need to uh, do the team meetings, and we'll tell all the requirements to the teams. They will consider the application, and after that we have to test those applications.
Okay, perfect. Now, uh, generally, right, I'll tell you why this has been created. I mean, it why market has so much of importance to business, especially Salesforce business analysts. Yeah. Let's say, consider me, right? So I'm I deal with almost okay, n number of applications in my organization, and I have a lot of developers working with me as well, right? So every project we will have a developer, right? A pool of developers. Let's say I'm one of the developer and I have a BA. So what does my BA Harita will do? She will interact with the business, get the requirements, and of course, whatever the tool you're using, you'll convert that to PBIs, or you'll get the features, Apex, etc., etc., and you'll say, Ram, our product owner or our business user, Mr. Reddy, wants this ABC functionality to be done in Salesforce. So I'll say, I'll check the features and I'll say, okay, Harita, this is possible. Fine. Tomorrow, Reddy will come and he'll say, okay, I want to do some automation. What Harita will do? Okay, Reddy, just wait. Let me go back to Ram. I'll check again. So every time Harita is acting just as a postman now, right? She's gathering the requirements, she is giving it to Ram, checking the feasibility, and she's going back and say sometimes she's saying yes, sometimes she's saying no. In this meanwhile, Reddy felt, why do I need to have Harita? If she is just even to check whether it is possible or not in the technology, Harita is every time she is going to Ram. So why can't I directly interact with Ram? Problem is Ram don't know the requirements properly. He was not able to understand. So that is where people are looking for Salesforce business analyst role, where a BA in Salesforce may or may not need the entire information that is there in Salesforce, but at least you should be able to tell whether that features are possible or not, right? For example, in Salesforce, there are few features that are not possible with the default licenses. Like, let's say Red is asking for a digital signature that comes with an extra payment, like that comes with an extra license called DocuSign. But Harita don't know, right? And once she's come once she's back to Ram, he have to scrutinize this, right? So instead, this is ideally a basic one, right? So if Harita says no, no, ready, I think it is not possible in Salesforce, so we might have to go for something called DocuSign. I don't know the setup, but there is something called DocuSign. Let me go to the product and developers and come back with the steps, right? That is where the business is saying that we need such BAs who know Salesforce. We don't want BAs to develop, that is fine, but they should have Salesforce capabilities. So that is where Salesforce BA roles are coming into the market. Now clear, Harita?
Yeah, and one more question. I don't know your name, but uh, uh, is this course include that something coding type like that?
Yes. So it has two parts, admin and development. So we will start with admins first. Once the entire admin is completed, then we'll discuss about the development concepts.
Okay. And last question, is this helps to QA team?
Yeah, admin is mandatory for a BA. Of course, for a BA, development is also very important because a lot of features that cannot be done in admin can will be discussed in development. And if you want just to be a QA, then yes, admin is sufficient to an extent.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, hey Ram. Hello.
Yeah.
Hey Ram. the concept which you went through, like campaign to leads to uh, getting contact accounts and contact get created and opportunities come from one of the contact. So all this process which you have build up any relationships, or it's an out of the box feature?
It's an out of box feature. I didn't do, as I said, right? I didn't do anything today. Just
Okay,
created 4 or 5 records. That's it. If
okay.
you register for this, right, like for this developer edition, you will be able to do the same thing if you have. I mean, if you follow the same recording. So I didn't do anything technical today.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing is like you were it's creating of records, getting into the objects, just creating
Yes,
the record. That's fine, but
correct.
I was trying to understand like how the campaign work and how the
Ah, that is
inquiry.
where that's where we are going to discuss from tomorrow those concepts, like how this actually works at the back end, like how these relations are defined. First of all, we'll discuss about like how many relations are there in Salesforce and which relation to be used at what time, right? And what kind of data types do we need, and how do we automate, how do we create some automation features. Of course, we can see what kind of automations can be done, all this, right?
Yeah,
Then
you're saying, I'm sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
You're saying about like what type of data types can be there, how what type of validations we can apply on the fields.
yeah.
So those things are fine. Like, I mean, irrespective of that, what I'm trying to understand is like there would be a concept like how would the leads a campaign get convert to leads, how the leads get convert to accounts. So that kind of there would be some kind of concept in that, right? So that's what I'm trying to understand.
The same concepts will be covered in the automations, right?
Okay, okay. And one other
So
question, like we also, so as of in the current market, flows and LWCs, I'm just speaking, flows comes to an admin part, right?
correct, correct.
Yeah. So the flows and the other thing is LWC, which comes to a developing part. So
Yeah.
we gonna cover like, is it like you're gonna very much focus there because the current market is
Yeah.
completely upon flows and LWC.
Yes.
Okay, okay, yeah. Thank you, Ram.
So Apex, it just have two parts. One is backend development, front end development, right? So backend development is your Apex, right? And front end is Lightning Web Components, and of course, uh, yes, as of now, LWC is important, but at the same time, we have something called Lightning Aura components. So there are a lot of applications which is built even on Aura. So I will discuss Aura plus LWC, not just LWC. Yeah, because so till 2019, I mean, LWC came up in 2019, right? Of course it is getting upgraded, but by then at least 60 to 70% of applications are already built, right? And people are doing the enhancements. If you just learn Lightning Web Component and go to the market, I'm sure it'll be hard for you to crack the interviews. So that's where we will discuss about Aura also, Aura first, and then we'll go to a Lightning Web Components as well. So these three parts I will cover for sure in the development.
Makes sense. Thank you, Ram.
Yeah.
For this is required any technical knowledge because you are completely non IT, right? Is not required.
Uh, as I said, the Upender, so for admin, you don't need anything, but for development, you must be aware
For
of.
development, I'm sorry.
Yeah, for development, yes, you must be aware of Java basics, HTML basics, and JavaScript basics. So what I would suggest, it's not that I'm trying to push you for the course. So I would suggest you to just uh, attend 1 or 2 sessions in development. If you feel comfortable, you can continue. It's not something that we are
Okay.
trying to push you to that extent. But see if you can understand, right? Like then we can see how we can continue. But as I told you in the last
Okay.
session, like let's say, I hope Reddy is a developer. So if he is spending 1 hour, you might have to spend 2 hours or 3 hours a day in the initial stage. Like later on,
Okay.
yeah, it'll be. I don't see. I won't see any much, much difference.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Ram, so another thing like would be a suggestion. Uh, it would be easy like if at all, if you can provide any, as of like you might need to cover all parts of the Salesforce of admin and developing. So is it there would be a way like if you can provide any input like before getting into the class, at least like going through HTML, like having some
Those
doing
things
some.
will be there before we start the development. I'll tell you what to do.
Okay, okay, makes sense. Thank you, Ram.
And of course I'll give you the right website where you can go and practice as well. It's not just I'll say okay ready go and come back with mean JavaScript functions and all. Rather I will tell you a websites where you can happily practice also, so don't worry on that. And post admin, I'll generally I prefer to complete the admin parts somewhere on Thursdays, right? So I'll try to complete Wednesday or Thursday, so that immediately without a break I will give you an introduction of development. So during that session I'll give you the details what you have to learn, so that you have a weekend in between, right, 2 days, so that you can just go through those things and then we can start freshly on Monday. And that's how
Yeah,
I prefer.
yeah. I mean, like what I'm trying to say is like like giving just 2 days would be not like not really if who's like as of one of the guy raised up his hand saying that who are the people from non-IT background wouldn't be a sufficient time to cope up and jump into developing class and do some tasks, right?
Yeah,
So if you would have given like prior, like as of we doing admin and like end of the class, if you say like who guys who are interested for developing, if you can give some inputs to learn basics like HTML and
I'll
Java.
take care. Don't worry. So I think if I'm not wrong on the number, so I've trained already 2,900 or 2,950 members by now.
Okay,
So
yeah,
don't
yeah,
worry.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Do we have any index for the course?
Indexing, I think it'll be provided by Career IT. If not, I mean it is there with Career IT already. Or it's fine. Like you can go with a direct Salesforce admin certification course and developer course as well. So because each and everything that I'll be discussing will be covered in that.
Okay.
Yeah, but once you get the index, right? Like only point is like I won't follow the same order or same structure that you have seen outside. So I have my own pattern. So rather discussing on the features, right? So from the next session, I would rather speak pick one real-time example. For example, you might have seen my applications. Like I've created some applications on banking sectors. Let me just open it up. If you see this, right? Yeah. So these are the different applications that I generally suggest people, right? One is on any of the educational industry, which is career IT I pick, and something on the real estate where you'll have a lot of automations. Yeah, it could be real estate or it could be no broker or banking sectors. So that this is where you can come up with a lot of automations and a lot of validations as well, right? So that's where I can pick multiple concepts and we'll cover. So rather than just discussing okay this is a flow, these are the different types of flows, we are going to create this flow for this requirement and all, instead I will bring up the requirement first, we'll discuss, and then if that requirement comes into Salesforce we'll see which concept helps us to resolve. So in that way it will be easy for you to memorize rather than just mugging up the documentations. Yeah. So by end of the course, I prefer to make sure that you have an application in your in your Salesforce orgs rather than just having documents in your emails. Of course, documents will be given. Don't worry on that. But Everyone knows like how hardly we'll look into those documents every time, right? Rather, we'll have a practical application in the system.
Ram, one last question. Sorry to ask this. Hey, so as of we go by, like, as of you have, you train like step by step, like, after that, is it like we get on a daily based assignments, right?
Yes, you do.
Yeah. So,
So
is
it will
that?
be me. Most of the times, it will be me who will share the screen and show you the details, right? So you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to practice the same thing. So I'll give you a simple. So generally, I'll give you two assignments a day, right? One is
Mm-hmm.
simple one, and the other one is complicated one. So simple
Yeah.
one you will definitely do it. Second one, it depends whether you will be able to do it or not. The second one
Okay.
I'll discuss in the next session and continue with the other concept.
Makes sense. So, like, as of we talk cover like all the topics, as of like end of the course or while progress in the course, will you be like able to make up like a very small real time project or that help?
Yeah, just now I have discussed, right? Like I will start. I mean, from day one itself, we'll start working on a project. So I'll
Yeah.
pick
So
our
end of the
exam, and then
training, it. Yeah. Sorry.
yeah, parallelly, if you want to build any use case, you can build it, and the next day you can ask questions if you have anything. That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, like you would be having more like as of you like you're very well experienced, so you might have uh multiple scenarios. If you can give us use cases, so if we build up
Yeah,
parallel, that would be really great help.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you, Ram.
Any other questions, anyone? Okay. Okay, then. See you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey, thank you, Ram.